Let me just relog. Yeah, I've just sent it out on Twitter as well.
Cool.
Yeah, I just tweeted it as well. Let's get this cracking, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me see. I got it. All right, cool. Yeah.
Retweet that.
Cool. It's about to go down, man. Hey, what's up, Christopher? What's good, YouTube? We're in the building. I got the homies with me. Kelvin, out there in the UK. My boy Antonio, out there in Carolina, holding it down. What's cracking? Say what up, y'all.
What's good, man?
What's going on? Nice to be back here doing this again, spreading the IT career sauce, as we call it now.
Yeah, 100 for sure.
That IT career sauce. I hope y'all ready. Today we're talking about getting that bag. If you don't know what that bag is, we're going to be talking about how to secure the right amount of money for your worth. In other words, if you got certifications, how much are you worth? If you have a degree, how much are you worth? If you have experience, how much are you worth? And how to appropriately define that in an interview or if you're talking to HR. So, with no further ado, let's send some shout outs. What's up, everybody? What's up, Tiffany?
Oh, our homie Tiffany on the joint. What up, Tiff? Matter of fact, let me pull up the link myself.
Yeah, I've got. Oh, what's up, everybody? Wow, we got a few people tuning in. That's nice.
Yeah, we got some folks on here. Hey, if y'all can like this video and share it out, that would be wonderful. Thank you. And also, we got our Twitter links, and we got Kelvin's Twitter links and Kelvin's YouTube channel and his website in the description. Feel free to check all those out. Antonio got his links in the description. Feel free to check all those out. Follow, share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We thank y'all in advance.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no doubt. So this is a hot topic right here, man. You know, there's been a lot of people asking, you know, well, first and foremost, I don't think any of us got into the certification game just to have the cert, because you could have the knowledge and be a Darby Weaver out here that gets to a bag without, you know, an IE, you know. So I think we all did it because, you know, quite honestly, we want that paper. And, you know, one of the questions that came up is how do you get the paper? You know, and I got some thoughts I'm gonna share on that, but I want to hear from the likes of you and Kelvin on that one first.
Yeah, this question actually came from Cisco Panther out on Twitter. So shout out to you, fam. And I'll read his full question in the entirety before we get to it. That's cool?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So Cisco Panther hit us up on Twitter. And he was like, please, I would love to hear about financial negotiation on job interviews, like an average hourly rate for CCNA, CCNP, and ultimately the CCIE. We want to hear about that bag. So we're going to talk about that bag. Who want to go first?
Yeah.
Let me go last.
Yeah, last. All right, I can go first. I think it's quite good actually that we've got, you know, you guys across the pond, as we call it, and myself in the UK, because, you know, we've got people I see tuning in from the UK and obviously America, Canada, everywhere else. So I think, you know, in comparison, we can kind of look at, you know, how things differ, if they do at all, between different areas around the world. So I guess for me to kind of answer this question, or to kick this question off, I'd like to actually refer to the situation that I've been through. And that was my first job interview trying to get into the IT industry. It was for an ISP, and I think at this point, I only had the CCNT. Yeah, I did. I didn't have my CCNA. I had the CCNT. And the position was, if we're talking about money in the UK, I was still in university, and we're looking at about 16,000, so 16K a year. Now, it's not really, for me at the time, I thought, right, it's not really an ideal salary. It's not the best salary out there on the market, but if this is the way I'm going to get into the industry, then let me just go do the interview, see what it's about, and see if, you know, I can kind of improve my skills, and if there's any way for me to actually get a higher salary while I'm there, see if I could do that. So I went and sat the interview, and I spoke with one of the owners of the company. And you know, when you don't get a good vibe about a place, well, I wasn't really getting a good vibe about this place. You know, I had my CCNT, and I felt like the guys that were interviewing me kind of undervaluing my skills. Like, I knew how high, like, I was only CCNT. I mean, regardless, you know, I've still gone out there and I've got that certification. I've sat the exam and I've done that. But I was sat there and I felt like these guys weren't appreciating the work that I'd been through at present and the work that I was going through to actually get get to where I was. And, you know, these guys were offering minimal salary in comparison to other jobs on the market. And by the end of the interview, you know, if we're talking about worth, I walked out and I felt like I aced the interview, but I didn't want the job. It's my first job. I'm trying to get into the industry, and I didn't want the job. And that was purely because I thought that the company was undervaluing my skills. And I thought if they were willing to do that now before actually getting the job, then there's not really going to be any room for me to progress and increase that salary. Or once I've got my additional certifications, I don't think they're going to be the company that will appreciate that and offer me the salary that I deserve. So, you know, I decided, they did offer me the job, by the way, and I decided to turn down that job because I just purely felt undervalued. So that's kind of, you know, my story. And if we just look at so you guys sent some links before this, which is quite cool. So for anybody that's not familiar with global knowledge, I'm sure those that are taking certifications, etc., should be. And I'm sure Dewan will share the link. They actually produce surveys every year. And we were taking a look at a global knowledge salary report from 2017, so last year. And the difference between this this report and the reports that they normally do is that this report was based globally, whereas the reports they do normally is the US and Canada. And I quickly took away a few things that stood out to me on this report. And, you know, from what I was looking at, I seen that certifications versus no certifications, especially in the EMEA region. So we're talking over in the UK and Middle East, etc. There was a 12.8% difference in salary. So, you know, if we're talking certifications and feeling valued versus undervalued, if you haven't got those certifications and you're getting into this industry, you know, I truly believe your salary will be different to those that are on par with you but got the certification. So right. Definitely certifications are the way forward. There's a lot more that I've looked at on this report, but I mean, I'm going to pass it over to you guys to kind of share your knowledge, and, you know, maybe we can delve a little deeper into this later on.
Yeah, for me, there's so many different lanes that I've been in with this, you know, getting out the military and not really knowing my salary, getting the CCNA and determining my worth, and getting the CCNP and et cetera, et cetera. So I'll start with getting out the military. Getting out the military, I didn't have all the resources available to know what I was actually worth. So when I got my first job, I was making $20 an hour out as soon as I got out the military. And it took me about 4 months to get that position. There was no room for growth. I didn't have any certifications. The job required me to get my A+. So I got my A+, and I stayed in that job for 6 years. I left that job and I made $25 an hour as a contractor with no benefits. So honestly, that's a pay cut. That's less than $20 an hour when you start looking at, you know, benefits and everything else. But as far as how much I was making was $25 an hour. Now that contract ended. I got another job making about $21 an hour with benefits. Okay, and that's just with the A+. Then I went on to get my Security Plus, and then I would say about a year and a half later, I got my CCNT, and then I got my CCNA. During all that process, I started negotiating, and I think I got my $21 an hour up to about $25 an hour through my negotiations or certifications. And one of those times, what I had to do was get another job offer, go to my boss and say, hey, I got another job offer and I'm about to leave. if you want to keep me, if you can either match this or something. So what they did, they negotiated, got me a raise. So that took me to the $25. Took me about $26, $27 an hour. Then I got my CCNA and I went up to about 31 something an hour with the CCNA, but I got a brand new job. The job I was at couldn't match it. So I left. And all of this I determined by using like Glassdoor and different websites, and then also actually testing the job market to see, okay, what is somebody else willing to pay me for these skills? What is my friends making that will openly share what they're making? And that's how I determine my worth, is by seeing what's out there. Okay, what does the nationwide average for the CCNA or Security Plus, what should you be making? Now, a lot of that is going to be padded, but so you actually have to maybe go do some job interviews and get some offers to see, okay, if this works for me. But like Kelvin said, you may walk into a place and the vibe is not right, and they may give you one of the best offers in your life, and you gonna have to be willing to turn it down. Because I've turned them down because it's like, that's not for me. You know what I'm saying? Money is not everything. And then on top of that, they could offer you that bag. It's a great position with a great title, but you're not learning anything. So if you start making that 70K, but you're no longer learning, and you stay in that position 3 years, you actually gonna be further behind than you were when you took the job. So you got to make sure that what you're making, the title, and what you're actually going to be doing aligns to set you up for the future. The next job you take cannot be okay, this is where I'm at, I'm going to be here forever, because that job could say the next day you're hired that they're laying off. And I'm telling you that because when I took the job making 30 something an hour, when I got my CCNA, I walked in the door and I'm like, yo, this ain't right. I'm like, they're telling me that the work that they hired me for isn't ready yet. No, there's a reason why that work is not ready yet. Because there's something going on behind the scenes you don't know about, and they don't have them contracts negotiated to continue on business. And you got to have the wherewithal to see that before you take the job or when you get in the job. And thankfully, God has something else lined up for me. So when I took that job, I could exit easily. But that don't always happen for everybody. So you really have to be in tune with not just knowing your worth, but you got to know what you're actually going to be walking into. And
yeah.
So go ahead, Kevin.
Sorry, I mean, just to kind of to go back there about when I turned down that job and it was 16K and I felt really undervalued. The next position that I actually went for, and I still didn't have my CCNA. I mean, I was in line to take my exam, and I passed when I got this other job. But the next job that I went for, because I actually believed I was worth more, regardless of what the industry was saying or the figures out there, I was like, I'm worth more than this. I know more. Just because I've only got my CCNT, I know that I'm more capable of doing CCNA level stuff. So I'm going to go for these CCNA level jobs. And the next job that I actually got offered was the position as a security engineer. And that was 5K more than the initial position that I was going to take and accept. So, it just goes to show there, don't just settle for the first come, first serve. Don't have a look on the market. If you believe you're worth more than that, then turn it down. There's many jobs. Trust me when I say this, guys. There is so many jobs in the IT industry out there at the minute. You only have to look at this report from last year, and it's saying pretty much what I was saying on the last video. Skills in cloud security and networking. It says, in fact, I've got statistics here. So 31% of all the respondents from this report said that they couldn't find cybersecurity talent. That's 31%, and that was last year. So don't just settle for what comes. If you feel like you're worth more, go for it.
That all of that is a fact, and I really hope that you guys that's watching picked up on. I've been over here writing mad notes from you guys, because not only have I gone through the same journey, getting out the military. Well, first in the military, I ascended to the rank of sergeant within my 4 years. That's an E5. That's a prestigious rank amongst non-commissioned officers, but the pay was trash.
Trash.
I mean, I think I made 20, maybe 22,000 my best year in the Marine Corps. And I got offered well, before that, we did a contract with some civilians, and they came in and was helping us do some stuff. And one night in the cafeteria, they just bragging about all the bread they getting. And I'm like, hey, my man, I ain't trying to be in your business, but how did you get that doing the same thing I'm doing? And he was like, I got certified. This is the first time I ever even heard of an IT certification. So I did what he said. I went and got a book on being an MCP. That's the entry level to being Microsoft certified. From that, I'm getting out that was in September of 1998. I'm transitioning out of the military December of 1998, and I got offered a job to start January of 1999 making $35 an hour simply because I had some experience and an MCP. I haven't looked back, although I did take a pay cut. So what am I going with all of this? One, I didn't know what my worth was coming out of the military because I had no idea of what the market is. Kind of like a lot of you that's on the call right now, that you're just starting to get into certifications. You're trying to figure out what type of job to go get or what should you apply for. And I've been very adamant on these calls about none of that matters. Apply. Be confident in what you know. Be honest about what you don't know. If you get the job, great. If you don't, keep pushing. This isn't a situation where you can only do one or the other. You can do both at the same time. And what you're going to find as you get into this industry and into this game, everything, you're going to have to multitask everything. You're going to have to multitask family. You're going to have to multitask uh, having a work-life balance. You're going to have to multitask studying for your degree or for your certification or both, like I'm doing right now. So when you don't know your worth, just get your foot in the game. Now, once you know your worth, November 17, 2015, I passed my CCIE. I updated all of my social profiles and everything. And this one company came at me heavy, offering me 180K. Now, I don't like to throw around real numbers, but I'm going to keep it all the way gangster with you. They offered me 180K US dollars. And I'm like, man, this about to change me and my girl's life. Then they told me I need to come to the office 4 days a week. Now, anybody that knows me knows that's a no-go. And I thought about it long and hard. Could I do that when my children depend on me? One depends on me to take her to school every single day. I have to go to different meetings at schools. My life has been built around being the creator of my own schedule. So as I thought about that, I really felt like, and excuse this term, that I was going to be prostituting myself if I took that job. But I was doing whatever I had to do just for money. And anybody that knows me, I'm all about the family over everything.
Yeah.
The line you said, money is not everything, and I could not agree more. People looked at me like I was crazy when I told them what I got offered and turned it down. But my principles state that what matters to me can't be bought.
Facts.
I hustle anyway.
Facts.
I write books.
Facts.
I grind on the side. When it comes to taking care of my family, I'm gonna get to the bag.
Get to that bag.
But I'm not gonna cheapen myself. Now, before I became a CCIE and I had to leave Detroit to come here, I took an $18,000 pay cut, $18,000 annually, and I had to work hours that I didn't want to work. I had to work from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. Sunday through Thursday. Now, I love football. You know what that did to my football life on Sundays? To have to go to work and work trouble tickets. But I did that knowing that that I had a bigger goal. So know where the wave is going, but also know where you want to go in that wave. See, a lot of times we fall down when we try to fight the wave. But if you're standing in the ocean and the wave come, if you just stand there and let it do what it's gonna do, you typically won't fall. It's gonna do what it's gonna do. But the more you try to brace, you know, you can't do that. So Kelvin hit on something a little bit earlier. You know, you gotta know where you're trying to go.
Mm.
You got to know what you're trying to do. You got to know what you're trying to get into. So for me, I came into this game when I got to the networking side, not having a CCNA, but I didn't know how much CCNAs was going to get paid either. But what I did know was that a CCNA was going to make more than somebody that didn't have a CCNA. I knew that somebody with a CCNP was going to make more than someone with a CCNA. I knew that somebody with a CCIE was going to make more than somebody with a CCNP. That's just, how it is.
Unless you're Darby Weaver.
Unless you unless you're Darby Weaver. And and that's a fact. So how you get to the bag, number one, you secure your knowledge.
Yeah.
You make yourself valuable. I've never talked about money in an interview, but I've always talked about money when it came to HR. Because the
Facts.
people, number one, you don't want to discuss your bread with your coworkers. That breeds all types of animosity, either you against them or them against you. So you leave those discussions with HR.
Hey,
Uh,
can I say something before you go?
yeah,
One thing that I always do, just because I value my time, is that I talk to money. I talk about money with HR before I even go to the interview to know what they willing to pay.
yeah,
Yeah.
fact. Because a lot of times people are afraid that if they don't accept the offer that's made, then they're going to take the offer off the table. Now, um, I've had that happen one time, and when the manager actually took the offer off the table, he got reprimanded because the company wanted me that bad. It was a company named Vanstar, and I knew I was worth more than what they offered. They offered me 48K, and this was back in 1999. I knew I was worth more than that. So I tell them, okay, that's a fair offer for somebody that doesn't have my experience, but based upon my experience, boom. And it's like, no, it's a take it or leave it. I was like, okay, cool, I'll leave that. Deuces. And when the senior manager was like, yo, we had Antonio locked in the bag, what happened? So he called me. I'm like, yo, your man, they offered me this. I feel like I'm worth this. He told me take it or leave it, so I left it. And dude got reprimanded, and they came back with an offer that I wanted. But me, I have trust issues. People that know me know that. I was like, I can't trust that, so I left. Same thing happened when I was leaving Verizon. Uh, I it wasn't because of money that I left Verizon, so money couldn't make me stay. But when I'm leaving, they tried to offer me another position with more money, and I was insulted because my thinking was, why did it take me saying I'm leaving for you to see
Yeah.
my value?
Mm.
So I left because again, I'm a man of principle. And the job right before Cisco, same thing. I was I was doing the job of an architect and getting the money of a junior engineer.
Hmm.
So I wasn't even a senior engineer. I was just a network engineer uh, with senior level experience, with senior level certs. Uh, I had already taken one attempt at the CCIE. I was leading projects. I wasn't second chairing them. I was creating the workflow. And when I said I'm leaving, my manager calls me in the office and hits me with you've been doing the job of an architect. What if we made you an architect? And I was like, oh, y'all can do that? Oh, great. Yeah, that sounds good. Why didn't you do it when I asked for it in my review?
Facts.
Exactly.
Facts.
Mm.
So me being me, I'm like, I'm out. I'm done. Like I believe in me to a fault. Like I'm a because I cannot allow the safety of my children to fail. I'm going to succeed,
Facts.
even if I have to fall a couple of times. So you
Facts.
got
Mm.
to have that same level of confidence. You got to have that same level of, you know what? I'm not about to just get out here and take, you know, crumbs from the table. I'm not doing that. Marie
Facts.
Antoinette, let them all eat cake.
Yeah.
Nah. No,
And this
it's
is,
not happening.
I mean, if I can just jump in there, I mean, in terms of, you know, you were talking a lot there about the counter offers. And for those that are not familiar with the IT industry, this is something that once you get into the industry, you're going to come across quite a lot. I mean, the very first proper IT job that I got into, I thought, you know, I was getting paid a decent amount of money. And it was just before I came to Cisco. As soon as I said I was leaving, you know, they're trying to put counter offers on the table. And for me, it was like, well, you know, a couple of months ago, I got my CCNA. So why did you not offer me a pay rise back then? You know, why, as Antonio said, does it take for somebody to have to leave before you start offering, you know, pay rises and bonuses and, you know, additional training or whatever? You know, it shouldn't take that. And as soon as he asked me where I was going, and as soon as I said Cisco, that were it. They couldn't even counter offer me anymore because they knew that they couldn't compete with Cisco. So they said, yeah, we can't do anything, but we're going to have to let you go. I'm like, well, I'm going anyway. You're not letting me go. I'm going. I mean, yeah, the counter offers is something that you're going to have to get used to. I mean, if you're out there chasing money, and there's a lot of people out there just chasing money, and I'm not one of those, then this could be a game that you play. You know, you might see another job on the table. You might apply for that. You might provisionally get the job offer. Then you can go to your company and then say, well, you know, I'm thinking about leaving, and then see what counter offers are put on the table. But then there's also potential repercussions of that, you know, because if you apply for a job and they provisionally accept you, but then you're doing it just for the money, and they say, okay, then bye. But you don't really want to leave the job, then you're stuck in an awkward position because, yes, you could stay at the job, but then how's it going to be working with your co-workers, your managers, those that know that you want to leave the company? You know, it's not going to be a nice environment to work within. So, you know, you need to really be careful about that. And as soon as you start getting a couple of certifications, again, if you're chasing the money, I went from, so hopefully everybody's got LinkedIn. I went from looking for IT jobs on a daily basis and applying for, you know, myriad of IT jobs to, you know, my LinkedIn inbox every single day nearly, I'm getting job offers. You know, I'm getting job offers of, you know, 120K to work somewhere else in Europe. I'm getting, you know, I'm getting job offers at 80, 90K. And if I'm chasing the money, then, you know, I'm going for those sort of jobs. But because you've got to balance it right, okay? So we're talking about securing the bag here. So you need to, as Duane and Antonio have already said, you need to know your worth. Once you know your worth, then you need to take a look at the company, and then you need to see what this company offers. Is the job right for what you're doing? Is the role right? Is, you know, because what they put on the job description is not necessarily the job that you're going to be doing day in, day out. So you really need to get to the bottom of the job. Is the job right for you? Then you need to start looking at, okay, well, Antonio mentioned a very good point, which was pretty much work-life balance, you know, and I'm the same, you know, working for Cisco, I can work from home 5 days a week. You know, I can roll out of bed, open up my laptop, and I'm good. You know, for me, that work-life balance is perfect. I've got the flexibility to be able to pick my daughter up from school. Whereas if I were working in the office 5 days a week, I wouldn't be able to do that. You know, so you need to take a look at the company benefits and what they offer you as well. You know, is the bonuses involved on a yearly basis? What's the amount of time off you can get? You know, what is the addition, you know, so is the additional perks for like working at home? Is the additional perks in terms of discount from different companies on, you know, little things like that? Then once you've worked that out, you might realize if you were to actually add all this up, you know, pension, you know, free healthcare, if you were to add this package up, you soon realize that your actual salary, of a matter of fact, is a lot more than what it says on the paper. So if you're all about securing the bag, look at the benefits on the side as well. Don't just look at that one figure on the screen that says, you know, 60, 70K, 40, 50K. You know, look at the additional perks that are given as well by that company.
Facts.
Man, you just said a mouthful, and it's all 100% factual, man. When you got to look at the whole entire benefit package or salary package and realize that, you know, it's not just about the financial figure, because don't forget, the more that you make with that financial figure, the more that here in the United States, the tax man gonna come knocking. and you
Facts.
find that you're working excessive amount of hours to meet this number, but you're bringing home something that doesn't even fit your need.
True.
Mm.
Yep. Two things about that. So if you start making a certain amount, raise that 401k. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes,
That'll help you save on some of those taxes. Now, I do want to say this though. When you are chasing that bag, always do more than what you're paid for.
Mm.
fact.
Like,
Yep.
I know we're talking money here, but let's be realistic. You have to take everything in account that we're saying. You know, the location, how much time, what are the benefits, where is this going to put you in 3 to 5 years? You really have to take so many other things in account rather than just that number, because I've been offered 6 figures to relocate to San Francisco. You know how much it costs to live in San Francisco?
It costs 6 figures to live in San Francisco. You're gonna be homeless.
Have you seen the traffic coming from East Bay to San Francisco? I'm cool. I'm cool.
You need a
But
helicopter.
yeah, you need a helicopter. And don't let a car break down on the bridge. You don't.
So,
So like literally you really have to take all of that into account. We want the best for you, you know what I mean? But you really have to look at the whole big picture when it comes to these jobs, So y'all want to
Yeah.
open it up to questions?
yeah, let's do it. Oh, you know what? And one real quick note while we're opening it up for questions. Um, if you are the type of person that only do what you do because of money, you'll never have enough of that. You'll never have enough money.
Real talk.
Uh, and that's nothing against you. That's people move that way. But in this industry, um, you have a very long road ahead of you if that's how you move.
Bro,
Yeah.
you just put me back on my train of thought with that. You just put me right back on my train of thought. Multiple streams of income
Mm-hmm.
is going to be more beneficial to you if you can get a job that's paying you what you want, you're learning and you're growing, and you have time to do something on the side to make up for that 5,000-10,000 that you could get elsewhere doing less. Like, having multiple streams of income is something that I'm all about. That's just me. I don't know you all thoughts on it, but
Well, you already know my thoughts. I didn't already told you. Not in a bad way. I hustle, man. Like I said, I write books. I write books for other people. I'm also a ghostwriter. You know, I, I I do multiple things to make sure that we can get to the bag. So there's been times when I've been way up, and there's times I've been way down. But my work ethic will always make sure that I don't drown.
facts.
Yeah. Yeah. And touching on that, I mean, we or at least I come across people that they find it difficult to set goals, and in
Mm,
this industry, in this game, if you're looking to go anywhere in this industry, you need constant goals. You need to be setting goals constantly. You need to be achieving those goals. So, I mean, what I tend to do every year is, whether it's pay or certifications, I make sure that I set goals, even, family related things, personal life, I set goals. And then at the end of every year, I review my goals, and then I see which goals have I hit, which goals did I not hit, can I carry them over, can I make new goals? So for those that struggle because if you're going to get anywhere, if you're all about securing the bag or anything in life, you need goals. I've not got to where I am now without goals. I had clear goals, a clear vision of where I wanted to be. And now I'm doing it, but I still consistently set goals. So, I took my job on the basis of, one, I'm working for Cisco. Two, when I spoke with my now manager, he said there's room for quick promotion, quick pay rise, etc. And three, the ability to always be able to increase my knowledge. Like, it's endless. And talking about securing the bag, the ability of being able to get that pay rise and that promotion year in, year out, that's quite important to me. You know, if I'm putting in the work every single year to attain new certifications or to keep my knowledge current, then why should I not be getting some sort of benefit added on every single year? Why not? You know, because I'm working with customers every day of the year. You know, I'm increasing my skill set every day of the year. So that means my pay should be increasing, or, you know, so much should be increasing every year. And, you know, this is one thing that you've got to look at. You know, set them goals, review with your management. You know, if you feel like, okay, you know, I've done everything that I needed to do. I've hit all my targets that I needed to hit, but I still don't really feel like I'm getting anywhere. Sit down with your manager and be honest. Say, you know, look, I've been working hard. You know, is the something coming my way or not? I mean, it happened to me. Was it this year? I think it was the start of this year. You know, I knew I was waiting for a promotion and a pay rise. Seen a couple of colleagues that I work with getting promotions and pay rises, and I was like, wow, where's mine? Like, you know, I've been traveling all around the world. You know, I've been standing up data centers. You know, I've been doing X, Y, and Z. You know, I've been putting in work. You know, I've been traveling on a weekend, Saturday, Sundays. You know, Singapore 18, 17-hour flights. You know, it's a lot of work. And just before I was actually about to reach out to my manager, he reached out to me, and, you know, I ended up getting a promotion and a pay rise. And, you know, look at the company's policy, if you like, on how they do peer reviews. Is it every year? Is it every 6 months? If it's every 6 months, then every 6 months you need to be talking about that pay. You need to be talking about that promotion. If you're putting in that work, bring it up, talk about it. If it's every year, bring it up, talk about it. You know, because people not necessarily are going to give you money every time just because they feel like it. Sometimes you need to reach out to them. You need to let them know that that is on your mind. You need to let them know that you've been working hard. And if you don't let them know, you know, you're potentially going to be stuck in the same position for, you know, God knows how many years, because your management or, you know, whoever's looking after that will think, you know, he's all good. He's happy just doing his job. Leave him.
Right.
But really, in the back of your mind, you're not happy.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know,
Hey, bro.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
He said some great gems in that. One of the things that I found to be the strongest and what that I agree with the most is a good manager. You didn't say it directly, but you said it indirectly. If you are working for a good manager and you can go to them with your goals and your ideas, and they're nurturing you to get to where you want to be, like that right there, sometimes it's priceless, because they're going to help you get to where you go. Even if it's to go to another job, they're going to help you get there. That's a good manager.
yeah.
Right. And I can say I've been so blessed and fortunate at Cisco that out of the 7 managers I've had in 7 years, that all of them have been amazing. And as a company, as it's the culture of Cisco to want to see you at your best. We'd rather see you in another department, in another role, than to see you outside of the company. Cisco is big on wanting the best talent, regardless of location, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of gender. Um, Kelvin, man, you hit on something that's so important. I know that Dewan, you and I have talked about this. You have to be your biggest advocate. You have to keep very good track of what you do. So what does that mean? You need to do something. You need to provide something. And like Dewan already said on this call, you got to do more than what you pay for. I keep very good record of my successes. And even when things don't go as planned, that's still a success, because I've learned something in that I can translate for the next mission. So you have to be good about, and I've struggled with this. My manager actually told me in our last one-on-one, Antonio, I need for you to do a better job of tooting your own horn.
Mhm.
And that's because I'm trying to ascend to a different level of leadership and a different position within Cisco that actually in the interviews I've had so far required me to do that very thing, talk about what I've done, what I've been successful at. And you need to be able to do that so that when you have your one-on-ones or your reviews, you can sit there and say, over the course of this amount of time, this is what I've done. This is the impact that I've brought, not to just this team, but to the overall bottom line of the company. This
Right.
is what I've done. And, we need to know what's the next step for me to get that raise or promotion. I've increased 21% since I've been at Cisco. And that's because I'm not just going to wait for you to give it to me. I'm going to keep telling you I want it until you just flat out say no. I'm going to keep telling you I want it.
Right. Straight up. Hey, salute, fam. What you saying that I use OneNote. I'm not sure if you all do war reports, so you got to do like a weekly war report. But like a great thing to do, and I do this daily, is keep a daily record in OneNote, Word, Notepad, something of what you are doing and what you are accomplishing. If you close 3 tickets, write that down. If you work with executives, write that down. If you worked on an outage and you bring it back up, write that down. If you worked with AT&T or whoever, write that down. Write down everything that you are doing. So not only do you have a record to present to your manager when you want that raise, but also you got a record to when you ready to redo that your resume. It's already there. You don't have to go elsewhere to say what you've done and spend hours trying to pick your brain. Nah, to keep a daily record of what you are accomplishing. And then that way you can toot your own horn, like the homie Antonio said. And then also you got something for your resume when you're ready to redo it.
That's a fact. Oh, and speaking of that, real quick, this isn't necessarily directly to securing the bag, but it goes hand in hand as one of the footnotes. Update your resume regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait till you're trying to find another job because your manager may have you in mind for another position or a promotion, and may say, "Hey, shoot me your resume real quick."
Mm-hmm.
And if yours is all outdated, you know what it says to someone in leadership, or what it can say to someone in leadership? They don't really take themselves serious.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
Updating your
Yeah, and
resume
another.
ain't necessarily about you being proactive to look for something. It's about, Dewan, you said it. Uh, Stay ready, and you don't have to get ready.
facts.
Exactly, exactly. And I think another point to make on that is that, if you have been in the same position for 5 years, you're not necessarily going to remember everything that you've done. So
Right.
by updating your resume, your resume, at least once a month, if you can, you're being able to list the most important skills that you've got, not only technically, but the soft skills as well. If you leave it 5 years down the line and you've been stuck doing the same job for the last 5 years, you don't necessarily pick up on everything that you've been doing. You don't necessarily pick up on the softer skills that you've been doing.
That's a
Cool.
fact.
Facts. All right. So I'm gonna get to some of these questions. Alexander has Sudeth. Shout out to you, fam. And shout out to everybody that's tuned in. I hope you all are enjoying this live stream. I thank the homies Kelvin and Antonio for tuning in.
Hey,
But
man, thanks for having us again, man. I think it's important for us to bring that swag and sauce to this industry, man. This is what's been missing, bro. Swag and sauce.
Nah,
yeah,
real. And I think I think it's so important because when I was starting off in this industry, I didn't have this advice out there. I didn't know where to look, who to talk to, where to go. I had none of that. I was at university and all I had was what I knew from university. But as soon as I started getting more into the certification game, speaking to people already in the industry, I started to find out a whole lot more, beyond university, beyond what I got told. And it started coming together. So I think by doing this, it's good to actually share the knowledge and give people what I necessarily didn't get, and probably what you guys didn't get either.
right. Facts. Hey, Alexander, we got you. Here's this question. He says, if you started this journey fresh tomorrow, how would the first 2 years look like? Or I guess what would the first 2 years look like?
I think that depends on the job. I think that depends on the position. I think that depends. I mean, that's a question that I can't really answer because every position is going to be different. I think somebody brand new just getting started. I think your first 2 years are going to be full of hunger, excitement, and nonstop uh, learning, nonstop round the clock, trying to you know prove that you deserve to be there, and then trying to get to the next spot.
Yeah, I think for me, it's Antonio bang on. It's that question of what makes you, or how do you define success? What I necessarily define as success is not the same as what you guys are defined as success. We're talking about securing the bag here. So you know if securing the bag is your success, getting the most amount of money that you can, then that success is different to my level of success. My level of success is, maybe getting a CCIE and being an industry recognized, person, and then being able to fall back and teach what I've learned throughout my years to those that are up and coming. That's my level of success, and living comfortably. That for me is better than anything. But I think from a personal standpoint, if I were to go judge myself in the first 2 years, what would I have done differently? I probably would have, we're talking about secure the bag. So I would have probably looked at myself in more detail in terms of knowing my worth. I was out there, as Antonio referenced, like a prostitute, just trying to get that job, trying to get into the IT industry. And I didn't really know my worth. I knew I was hard. I knew I was a hard worker. I knew all the things that I'd done. I was quite knowledgeable for where I was at that time, but I was underselling myself. I just wanted to get into the IT industry. So what I do now is, I definitely put more emphasis on myself and not necessarily just apply for any jobs to get the jobs. I probably go straight direct for a security position, and I'd probably try and negotiate a little bit more of a salary because I know I could do it.
Right. True story.
I know my first 2 years in this industry in the civilian sector, it was grind time, like straight up and down. Honestly, I worked two jobs. Uh, I did Banyan Vines to Windows NT migrations at night, and then I did Banyan Vines consulting during the day.
Man.
And oh, and actually, well, no, I had three. I did have a dentist office that I ran their little network in there for them. So I provided them with support too. So it was grind time.
Mm.
Yeah. For me, my first, after I got out of the military, I looked at IT as a job. I never looked at it as a career. You know what I mean? I was out living my life, and I just looked at it as a job, not as a career. And it took a minute for me to realize, wait a minute, I'm out here chasing money elsewhere. If I just focus and buckle down, get some certifications, I can actually secure the bag in this lane that I'm already in, that I already know. You know what I mean? And then elsewhere, I can do something on the side and, kind of have a balance in my life. I had to embrace the journey. Let's put it that way, and be in the moment and realize all the opportunity that was in front of me.
Yeah. And I think you touched on a really good point there. Career versus a job. If you're out here trying to, if you're out here trying to secure the bag in a job, you're probably going to skip from job to job.
Facts.
If you're out here trying to secure the bag with your career, this is something that you can actually get good at. This is something that gives you continuous knowledge and training. So that's where you're really going to secure the bag. Like I say, if it's a job, then you need to if IT is a job for you, if you consider it a job, then maybe you need to reconsider.
Facts. Tone, anything?
Man, I mean, what y'all just said is a mouthful, man. And I had to learn that very lesson that and it's funny because when people that aren't in doing what I do talk to me, they they've hinted at, oh, what type, what's your job, whatever. Now I don't have a job.
Facts.
I haven't had a job in, I don't know, since I've been consulting, which has been probably 10, 12 years. I have a career. I have options. I provide solutions.
Facts.
And to me, in a job, you're not really providing a solution. You're just, I don't even not I don't want to sound disrespectful, so I'm gonna leave it at that. You're not. I provide solutions. That's the best way to say it, and that's what my goal has been and will continue to be, to provide a solution. And within the framework of a career, that's what you can do.
Yeah.
And with a career, it's the difference, in my opinion, between a job and a career is that a career is sustainable. That's long term. That's a marathon. That's, you know, year over year over year over year versus a job that ends.
Facts. Hey, jobs get automated.
Man, listen. All my route switch people better understand that.
Yeah.
Cool. So, hey, so the next question on the list, I'm gonna go to Jesse T. Jesse T been rocking for a minute. Shout out to you, family. Great to have you on the live stream. So Jesse T, his question is, how obligated should someone be to stay with a company that pays for their certifications? Say company A pays for certifications, but company B pays more per year. Can I start that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna say this real quick. You got to be willing to invest in yourself. It don't matter what a company pay. You got to invest in yourself first. So it don't matter if they pay for certification or not. You got to be willing to get it yourself. Now, I'm gonna leave it at that. Go ahead, Tom.
You know, I was going to say two things. One, I'm going to go ahead and put the legal disclaimer out there. You need to check with your HR about that. There may be something that you signed that you don't realize that you signed when you just wanted to get to that paper and get to that certification. So if you know, there's companies out here that say that if you get certification, whatever, or a degree, that you owe them a certain amount of time.
Yep.
You need to know that before you even start entertaining other jobs. Outside of that, I agree with Devon.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I think you're definitely right. Definitely check with HR because, you know, I know especially in the UK, there's some companies that will stipulate that if the company puts you through any sort of certification or qualification, that you need to stay with this company for a certain amount of time, or if you decide to leave that company, you will then be billed for that, the cost of the exam or the qualification or anything like that. So yeah, definitely check with that. And again, yeah, like Antonio was saying, outside of that, you know, that question to me kind of sounds like, well, you're willing to put yourself under someone else's control just for a certification. Don't do it. You're your own person. Know your worth. You know, if you forget about a company willing to, yeah, certifications are expensive, but if you really want it, don't let a company hold you to that. You go and get it yourself. Don't let no company hold you to any sort of qualification or certification. Go out there and get it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, it was my goal to do more once I got my CCIE. I wanted to do more in the industry, and I said, me and my buddies all said, you know what? We're going to go to Cisco Live, even if we have to fund it ourselves. We're going to pay for our own training, even if we have to, you know, do that because the company won't pay. Cisco did not provide one penny for me to go to a Cisco sponsored conference called Live.
I've been trying for ages.
Nah, you know what? Honestly, man, I had to pull strings. I had to make deals. I had to barter. You know, one of my homeboys was going, and he had a room that was being paid for by his customer, and we just asked for a double room, and you know, I bunked with him, paid for my food, paid for my flight, my ticket. I partnered with the company to help fund my ticket. You got to get creative with your own entity. I remember one of the first conversations you and I had, Dewan. I told you you gotta remember that you're the CEO of your life. You're the CEO of your company, and you know you gotta provide. You gotta do what's best for you. And you know that question that my man asked, especially about being obligated, you have to be obligated to yourself and to your family, and do what's right for you and your family, regardless of what a company will or won't do.
Facts.
Yeah, and I also think, you know, the second part of that question in terms of salary, you know, it was about either stay for the cert or go for the salary. If you're trying to secure the bag, then work out what certification it is you're trying to do. That the company that's offering the better salary might not necessarily pay for your certifications, but then work out, you know, offset your salary to what the certification would cost and see what the difference is there. And if it still works out better, then go for the other company. If you're trying to secure the bag, go for the other company.
Facts. And if you have to decide which of those companies more in line with that certification that you get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I see this so many times, and I want to repeat this over and over and over. I know everybody likes certifications, but have a clear, defined path of the certification that you're getting. Just don't jump all over the place. I posted the CompTIA roadmap on, you know, what certifications is in line to where you want to be. Like Kelvin said, know your goals, have a clear, defined path of where you want to be, and have a roadmap on how to get there. Don't just get certifications because they sound cool, or because your homie got it, or you seen because I got it, or Kelvin or Antonio got it. Make sure it's in line with where you want to go.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, just to finish on that, I mean, I think that's a very good point, because if people are just taking certifications, you know, it's not going to help you in the long run. Because if you're applying for a job because you got a wireless certification 3 years ago, which is due to expire, or it expired but it renewed because you took another certification that renewed it, and then you're getting questioning on that, but you've not touched wireless in 3 years, you're in trouble. You're not going to be securing any type of bag. You need to be careful with that.
Hey, I have a Crown Royal bag full of change.
That's about the only bag you gonna have.
Nah, it's all love, though. It's all love. We just want the best for y'all, for real, for real. Yeah. Hey, y'all want to pick question, Tone? I seen Karan had a great question too. Shout out to Karan. He been rocking too. What's up, KT? Y'all mind if I ask this question?
No, go ahead. Let's get it.
I said, if you work at a multi-vendor site, would learn multiple technologies first? Would you learn multiple technologies first, or would you go down one path and become an expert before branching out? That's a great question. I'm gonna let them two answer that.
Yeah.
Well, so, go ahead, Kelvin.
Yeah, I'll keep it short. So, I mean, speaking from experience, I went from doing a degree that was all Cisco, like no other vendor whatsoever, apart from the vendors that I chose to mess about with in my own time, to then joining a company that did everything but Cisco pretty much. So we were talking Fortinet, Checkpoint mainly. I think about 90% of the work was Checkpoint, Palo Alto, and all the rest of it. So I had no choice but to start learning these different technologies. And I were at a point where I was actually going to start taking Checkpoint certifications just to kind of make sure I was in line with the position that I was doing. But in essence, I wanted to specifically work with Cisco and only Cisco. So again, talking about goals, I made sure I did what was necessary to make sure that I went down the route or found somewhere that worked specifically with Cisco technologies, and that's what I did. So I think it depends on the person. If you want to be a jack of all trades, then go for every vendor. But for me personally, I wanted to work with Cisco and Cisco only.
I could not agree more. When I started at Verizon, it was primarily a Cisco shop, but being in a managed services environment, we had everything because our customers had everything, because I worked for a service provider. So there was Aruba Wireless, there was Cisco Wireless, there was Juniper core networking and switching, there was Nortel core networking and switching, Nortel voice, Cisco voice, that other company I can't recall right now. That was a voice company.
Avaya.
Avaya. Thank you.
Oh yeah, those ones.
Those guys.
Yeah, those guys over there. Uh, yeah, it's unfortunate they went bankrupt. That is so unfortunate. It can happen to anybody, except Amazon, I guess. Anyway, not to get off track. I had to be a jack of all trades, right? Because we had to know so much of everything. But what I wanted to do within that, I wanted to be my goal, my thought has always been I didn't want to be one of the ones getting laid off. So I wanted to learn everything that we had to touch so that, I could provide that type of value. Now, once I secured my spot and my space, I said, okay, now I'm going to master something. And that's when I switched and started saying, you know what, I'm going to start doing more of the voice stuff. And, as we got more voice coming in, it was myself and another fellow that was doing voice. So, we kind of solidified our spot that way. And then, like Kelvin said, I wanted to be at Cisco. So I knew that being a jack of all trade wouldn't work going to Cisco or trying to get in at Cisco because, hell, they got everything and everyone over there. So I needed to be the best that I could be in one particular technology.
Facts.
So I focused on being an expert in unified communications.
Yeah. Another thing is that in your environment, if you have a multi-vendor environment or multiple technologies in environment, you have to touch them all. There's something nobody wants to touch. And to me, if you want to make the most money in your current position in your company, find that need that needs to be filled
and fill it.
And fill it.
Fact.
Yeah, that's real. So I mean, I've seen a few other questions here. So I think I've just kind of copied them because the chat's going down way too quick.
The chat going down.
I saw one from right after Quran from Melissa.
Shout out to Melissa.
Yeah, shout out to Melissa. She always supports. Yeah. When negotiating a pay raise with a current employer due to another job that offered to pay more, will this not cause your current employer to question your loyalty, so to speak, since you're out applying for other jobs, or is this the norm? Thanks. Well, people that know me know that I don't care about a company's loyalty because I don't believe it exists. My loyalty is to me and my family. Now, with that being said, though, I think you should exhaust your opportunities within your company first before you even start to look for a job outside of your company. And here's why I say that. If you can go to your management and say, hey, I want to do this, or I want to perform in this role, or you look at your internal job postings and, apply internally, I think that's a better route to go before looking outside the company, because once you do look outside the company, you can go back to your management and say, well, look, I tried to, I talked to you, I wanted to do this, you guys wouldn't let me do this. I wanted to do that, you guys wouldn't let me do that. I applied for this, and this. I kept getting shot down. So this is a place where I can go and actually experience the growth that I want to experience.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
A good company, honestly, is going to tell you to be loyal to your family first if you got good management.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, I also know, a lot of companies these days, especially IT companies, they do KPIs, so key performance indicators. And what they'll do is every time you have a review, you'll set goals. You and your manager will set goals and be clear and concise, not only on what your manager wants or expects, but what you want to get out of the next 6 months or 12 months time. And going back to goals, make sure that you knock them out the park, complete every single KPI that you had listed if possible. And then if you're still looking for more pay and you're not getting it, then at the point you have your next review cycle, sit down with your management and say, look, I've done this and more, so you've then kind of got that backup there. Whereas if you start looking at other jobs and then your manager comes back and says, well, why are you looking for other jobs? You say, well, look, I'm consistently meeting my KPIs and doing more, and I'm still not getting recognized for it. So I feel like there's no room for improvement unless I go elsewhere.
Right. That fact. Period. Right. And that goes right back to what we already said earlier in the call. about, steps to secure the bag.
Mm,
Hmm.
exactly. So I've got a question from Nathan Ramos. Thanks for tuning in. So we've got, would you guys advise me how do you land your first job only with the CCNA and without any experience in the IT field?
Where they from?
Before you answer that,
Where they
we
from?
covered that in our previous two posts. So let's please not spend a lot of time on that and get
Yeah.
some other questions in. But let's go ahead and give them a brief, surmised answer to that, if y'all agree.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
Yeah, I
definitely.
agree.
because go back and watch the other lives, and I promise you, it's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I also think that we've touched on that a little bit today as well. Especially from my point, we're talking about how I got my first job, and to hit the nail on the head, it's simple. Know your worth. If you've got your CCNA but no experience, apply for the job, go for the interview, and show them that you can do the job. It's as simple as that. And I'll leave that there.
Yeah, I agree. Ain't too much more to say on that. And like Tonio said, I think we had like three live streams, including every live stream we've been on. Pretty much we talk about how to get that job. So yeah,
It's funny. I see a comment that's a real intriguing one from Brandon Grosso. Best way to make more money is to go to a different employer. Period. Um, that can be true. I can tell you this. Uh, I've made more money at Cisco than anywhere else I've been, and I've had pay increases totaling over. It's under 22%, but over 21% since I've started there. And when leaving other jobs, uh, the most percentage wise that I've gotten is 10 to 12%, maybe 15 on one of them if I go back and run the numbers. So I think, Brandon, that may be true in some situations, but to just say that that's a end all be all, nah, I don't know about that, buddy. I think it also depends on what you bring to the table and what your worth and value is to the company that you're with.
facts.
I agree.
Let me see. You guys have any more questions?
Uh,
Y'all know it's football Sunday, right? Y'all know it's about to go down.
Yeah, that's why I kept saying like maybe 10.
Like, man, my Browns is about to get it in. We're going
Hey,
this year.
hey, no, you're not doing that. But your defense is solid though.
You know what? Who your team? Carolina?
God knows. You know, I can tell you like this. My
Lions?
diehard, of course, diehard Lions fan. But over the summer, I was a free agent, and I signed with the Oakland Raiders this past summer. So Raider Nation.
So next year you'll be a Vegas Raider.
Yeah, I'm under contract for 4 years, so we'll see.
Yeah, they got Marshawn Lynch, so I rock with Marshawn no matter
Beast
where he
mode
goes
all day. Yeah,
all
for
day.
sure.
Yeah,
Now, but Cleveland, man, y'all defense is ferocious, boy. That defense is hella scary.
that
Now, if
offense
y'all can
gonna
just get
surprise.
your offense,
It's gonna surprise you, bro. Straight up,
I,
Tyrod
I hope
Taylor.
so. Now, Ty's the truth.
Yeah.
Ty's the truth. But y'all have no running game.
Oh man, you know what? I didn't come here for you to bash my team, bro.
Hey,
I didn't
man,
come
we're in the
here for
same boat. Both of us. You realize that in the modern era, your team and my team, the only two teams to ever go 0-16.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right.
So I've got, we don't think we've answered this one. So, I could say Universal Warrior. So, what other certifications beside the Cisco network certifications make networking jobs easier or help you make more, I'm guessing, the same money in the industry?
I, I think it depends, man. I think it depends on what you want to do. I know people that have left Cisco to go do VMware and they make a lot of money. They have a great quality of life and a great work-life balance doing VMware stuff. I know people that, excuse me, do that are PMPs, and that's a cert that you can take to any company, not just not just a tech company, but being a project manager, every company needs that. So I think it really depends.
Yeah, I think if you just once again check that CompTIA roadmap, and any pretty much expert certification is going, you know, if you have the experience to go behind it, it's going to get you that bag.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I can't really add anything else to that, but apart from what Antonio said, yeah, there's project management certifications out there. There's companies also like Cisco. We do training in soft skills as well. So they're not necessarily certifications, but they are certificates that you can get once you've completed a course. So, you know, I went on one of the, well, it's called a consultant development program. And you know, it basically teaches you how to be a better consultant. And you
Real
know,
quick, was that part one or part two?
part one. I've not done part two yet.
Well, I start part two tomorrow.
Oh, cool. You'll have to let me know.
Yeah.
That's next. Yeah. So I've done the
trying.
foundation. I've done the foundation, but yeah, I mean, it basically teaches you about how you can become a better consultant, and there's a lot involved with soft skills there. So I think we spoke about in our previous video that we did, you know, it's not all about the technical certifications. You need to think outside the box. You need to look at the soft skills and, you know, the other skills that you need to carry out your role. It's not always technical.
Yeah.
You know, you just real quick, you just hit on something that I just thought about from that class, that you guys may not be able to take that class or something like it. But one of the things that you can do, that one of the things it taught me, we had to take a test that help us to describe how we are, who we are, what motivates us, and we had to give that to our manager. You need to find out who you are and how you are. Ask the people around you, and you have to be willing to let them be completely honest with you about how they view you. How do they view your leadership? How do they view your ability? How do they view you when you're faced with a challenge? And you have to take that data and really assess that and say, okay, is this the type of person that I would want to hire and to promote?
Right.
And if you have some vulnerabilities there, work on those. If you have some strengths there, continue to strengthen them. My bad, DeWan, go ahead. You was going to say something?
No. I was just saying I agree with you, bro. I was just saying
Yeah.
I agree. That I'm gonna get this last question so we can get out of here by 10:30.
All right.
And this was a question I sent y'all earlier. Shout out to Joe Hill. Thanks for tuning in. You actually perfect timing, Joe. So Joe said his question is, and Joe's been rocking for a minute. So much love to you, Joe. Lab every day. The question is, how far would you recommend going into networking if you are a system admin just starting out?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, I can answer that because, you know, I've been on both sides.
You've been across the pond.
Yeah. I think since the title of this video was getting that bag, a CCNA is going to help you in no matter what job you get. Routing and switching and knowing that networking is pretty much the foundation behind everything. If you're a developer, you know, knowing how the network functions and knowing about ports and different things like that is going to help you when you're building out your applications. If you are a system admin, knowing about ports, knowing about the network, knowing about the OSI layer, the OSI model, and knowing that is going to help you when you're troubleshooting the network, port security, knowing everything that could be blocking your application from working, or the reason why your client isn't connecting to the server, or the reason why this web page is not responding, or if there's an issue with Cisco AnyConnect, you're going to have an idea because, okay, you already understand networking. And then not only that, it's going to give you more net worth when you go into that interview to say, not only am I a system admin, but I also understand networking.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, yeah, definitely 100%. I mean, I work with, you know, systems engineers, programmers, and not everybody, but some people that I come across, you know, their excuse is, you know, I don't do networks, you know, so it's kind of down to us to try to fix the problem. But if you've got those foundational skills, which you're going to get from the CCNA or any, I don't know what the CompTIA ones are, but the basic ones, then that should be enough. Like Dewan said, you can then say, okay, yes, I know this. I know what an IP address is. I know what a subnet mask is. I know that it might be something as simple as your server's not in the same range as the rest of the network. Right. If you just focus on sysadmin stuff, you're probably not going to know that. So it might be, okay, you need to SSH from a server to somewhere else. What does SSH use? Well, port 22. These are all the foundational things that you get from doing things like your CCNA routing and switching. That, if you're just going to focus on being a systems admin, should be enough for you to be able to say, okay, yes, I specialize as a system admin, but I do know what I need to know for networking. The foundations never change. I'm studying the CCIE security right now, and I'm still going back to my CCNP root and switch, CCNA root and switch material just to kind of get a quick overview of how certain routing protocols, function in depth. So the foundations are still there. It never changes.
Right.
Hey, you guys done answered that, perfectly. I agree wholeheartedly. And one of the things that has always been my personal goal and mission is to learn one step up, one step down, one step to the side, one step to the side. Meaning, I want to know what's core to me, but also where I interface, so that if I ever need to have an intelligent conversation in one of those directions, I can. Or if there's a problem going on, I can at least verify to that level.
Facts. Hey, hopefully that answered your question, Joe. Hopefully. I think that about sums it up, y'all. What y'all think?
I think it does. I hope that it's been helpful to everyone. I know that I personally love getting on these calls with you guys because one of the things that's definitely been missing out here is that swag and sauce.
That IT career sauce, that networking for the culture sauce.
That's what we do it for.
Hey, we can't hear you, Kelvin.
Can't hear you, Kelvin.
Oh, hey,
I'm a disappeared.
Yeah, it might be one of those ports blocked on your firewall.
Yeah, it might be. I need the voice guy to sort it.
Nah, that was one of those double mutes right there.
So yeah, I would just say, like, if anybody's got any questions that we've not answered, or questions after this, feel free to reach out to any of us on Twitter or in the comment section. And I think moving forward, definitely I enjoy doing these with you guys. I think what we're doing here is in sharing the knowledge is definitely useful for the the Love Everyday community. From what I've seen, everybody enjoys it. So if you've got any ideas, guys, get to us, let us know.
Yeah.
But
holla at us, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We thank y'all for viewing. In the description box of this video, everything that we talked about, it has a link to it. There's links to Kelvin's website, YouTube, Twitter, and the same with the homie Antonio. Check them out, support them, and if you got questions, reach out to us. Pick one of us. We're all busy. We all have families and we all have lives. So we're going to do our best to get to you. But if we can't, don't take it personal. We'll make a video at some point or catch us on a live stream. We thank everybody for viewing. Peace.
Hey, now that I got good lighting, I might start me a YouTube channel or something.
Let's go, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, man, y'all be safe. Love you boys, man. We out.
Yeah, and girls.
Thanks, guys.
And girls. And gals.
And girls.
I'm actually talking about I love the both of y'all, but I love the community too. Love the community too. Hey, that's what we do it for. We do it for them.
Facts.
Yeah.